Welcome to Tai Chi. Everybody ready? Let's warm up. Hands at your waist, turn your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Stretch your neck. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your shoulders. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Expand your chest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Waist exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Airplane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Touch toe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your hips. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Be careful. Shift your weight to the left foot. Good Tai Chi posture. Kick your right foot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Kick your butt. 1, 2, 3. Shift weight. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Turn your knees. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Heisman, opening up your span, parallel feet. Choose the right side, cross and sit on that side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Cross and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Good golden cockerel with good tai chi posture, dropping the shoulders, middle finger to the side seam, tucking your butt, hollowing out your chest, chin slightly down, glance way ahead, tongue on your palate, and good thoughts. Here we go. Golden cockerel on its left. Last set. Kicking out. Gather, shift weight, center, and follow. Last set. Holding your ball, root down. Here we go. T stance, L stance, O stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, root down, T, center, out L, bottom hand advances, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, twist step, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot, twist step, T stance, L stance, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, brush your knee. Set it up correctly. All together, ear, hand, and heel, turn the hips and waist, brush your knee. Sit back, sit down, twist step. Left hand higher, right hand to your shoulder, T stance. Multitask to brush your knee. Hands go for the ride. Sit back, sit down. Pivot, twist step, set it up correctly. All together, turn the hips and waist, brush knee. Sit back, sit down, pivot, twist step, T stance, L stance, turn the hips and waist, hands go for the ride. Listen carefully, sit back, sit down. Twist step, hold your ball on a T stance. We're going to ward off, out and to the side. Push your opponent away by forearming. Pause, turn the hips and waist, reposition to grasp the bird's tail. Contact, turn at the hips and waist, push from the center. Separate the energy and roll back and sit down. Spiral up and lunge forward. Twist step. T stance, holding your ball. Out on an L, forearm your opponent and pause. Turn the hips and waist. Grasp the bird's tail. Use your hips and waist to turn. Contact, turn again, push. Separate, roll back and sit down. Spiral up and lunge forward. Other side, twist step. T stance. L stance. Bow stance. Grasp the bird's tail. Okay, we're getting into a single whip. How do we do that? Sit back, sit down, cup, 9 o'clock, two things happen, hook the backhand at 3, out, single whip. Sit back, sit down, twist step, cloud hands. In the 10, 1, 2, finish it off. Apparently closing. Embrace the tiger. Tuck the elbows in, drop the shoulders, flex the knees. Let gravity take you back home, okay? Okay, coming forward on a Tai Chi walk, okay? Remembering that we need to exaggerate our movements that are going zigzag, and as a result, the movements that are going forward are also exaggerated, okay? Hands at your waist, drop the shoulders. Twist with your right heel, walk in that right zigzag position. Shift your weight, out on an L, move the energy from the back foot all across to your shoulder and out. Bow stance. Sit back, sit down, twist to the left, hips in that direction, heel, turn the hips and waist, flatten down, bow. Sit back, sit down. So the further you can sit back, the more energy you can now use to go to the right zigzag, heel, turn the hips and waist, move the energy, bow stance. Remember to sit back and sit down fully. Twist to the left, zigzag, L, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. So in each situation, we are trying to draw out and stretch out those movements because we know that over a period of time, we have gained more strength, more understanding, more conditioning. Therefore, we are more flexible. We can not only bend a little bit better, but we can hold our stance perhaps for a longer period of time. So that's what makes Tai Chi very unique, very special, in that it capitalizes on everything that our body has if done and practiced regularly. Last one. And then we're going to turn around and we're going to go back to our home spot. Okay, sit back, sit down. Then shift over, turn towards the street. Tai Chi walk back. Okay. Dropping those shoulders. Twist out. Walk in the right. Heel out. Turn the hips and waist. Bow stance. Sit back. Sit down, twist out to the left, heel, L stance, turn the hips and waist, straight away, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, zigzag to the right, shift the weight, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow. Don't forget, you can turn the hips and waist, but you need to make that energy move. Sit back, sit down, twist out to the left, heel straight away, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, walk in the right, heel out on a straightaway, turn the hips and waist, bow. Don't forget, we're still looking for good Tai Chi posture. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, walk in that left, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Sit back, sit down, pivot to the right, walk in the right, heel, turn the hips and waist, straight away. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, shift your weight, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. One more, sit back, sit down, pivot out, walk in the right, heel, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. Okay, now check, knee not be on your toe. Do you have that gap? Are you in a straightaway as if you were in a nice bow stance, bow in the front, arrow in the back? Is your Tai Chi posture good? Or are you arching your back? So remember, you have that index, the pointing finger. If you were to point it up, is that how your back is? Okay, good. Turn around. So what I did notice is that you may see yourself in another formation and I may see it in an entirely different formation. So there's a general thing that when you sit back and you sit down, this back goes back a little bit more, which is not correct. So T stance, L stance, turn the hips and waist, bow stance. The back never shifts, no matter what we're doing. The back just stays there. It's your center, okay? And I noticed so that's one thing that you can work on. So you keep your pointing finger there. It does not dip with your back. I'm having a little trouble because I'm not weighted down on my waist. In this position, you know it's obvious that you don't want to come forward. But anything in between, if this is my posture, anything in between is still incorrect. Do not compensate just because you have the outward foot that your back is going to follow it. Your back stays the same, remains the same throughout. Now, the opposite can occur. When you sit back, the back says, or you say, I need to sit back a little bit more. This is not right for me. I feel inadequate. I feel this is not optimal, it's not safe. I need to shift my weight and drill down. No matter what I do, drill down, the back still remains straight, not tipped back, or any other degrees in between that. So that's very important. So how do you detect? Yeah, you can ask someone to look at you. You can ask someone, you can put it yourself on a profile on a mirror and stop and say, am I straight? But also, if you can't do those things and you're good about feeling within your body, you know when you shift, and you know that that posture is not comfortable, okay?
Brief moment. To help yourself so that you get the feeling that you're more stabilized, just remember, straight-legged, you're not as centered on your feet as if you drop. Once you drop, you can feel the center of gravity drop to your feet. Similarly, straight-legged here, you come back this way, you don't have the feeling like, boom. You get the feeling that the substantial becomes substantial when you sit back. You drop your knee and you sit back.
So that's another way of feeling it. So what Ken said in a nutshell is that when you sit back, you feel yourself stronger in that back foot. You're drilling down, and your center of gravity from here just goes down a little bit more. You feel stronger, you feel safer, but don't start to throw that back, okay? It's small, and I can see it, and then perhaps, if you can see it on yourself, then you can kind of fix it up. Not everybody is clear now, so let me just help you. So pivot out on a zigzag. Pivot out on a zigzag means that you're here this way, because you're going to walk in this direction. So what I see is slightly here, but you're so eager to make sure that you're going to go here that this side hip does not twist out. So it's twist L, twist L, twist L. It's not partially twisting, just so that you can go forward. So you have to exaggerate it. So if I can show you from the back, good Tai Chi posture. So I was like this, okay, this way. Twist out, walk in that direction. Heel. If you don't have two hips going this way, you don't have that full range to then come back this way as if it were an exaggeration. Watch again, sit back, sit down. If I weight it down here, I have more energy to twist out. If I'm only partially, I say, I'm saving my knees. It's not going to help you. You need to sit back and you need to drill down. Then twist, then zigzag both this way. It's not easy. Heel, then you have that semicircle or whatever you call it to go this way. So it's really not very easy. People do not like it, but little do they know that if you get really well groomed and disciplined in Tai Chi walk, your Tai Chi will be that much more effective. Okay, so it has to do with what? Shifting of weight, shift again, patterning, moving the energy now. The energy, just because I say to get into an L stance, you just don't turn your hips and waists. But the energy has to come. You stored it so well here. It has to grow from the flat of the foot all the way through here, come across here, through your neck, through your shoulder, and then down. So what I am seeing people do is that they are coming here, they're just turning their hips and waists. That's so different from what you just saw me do. Watch again. Twist, L, turn. Watch a good one. Sit back. Storing that energy. Walking to the left. Heel out. Energy grows and then it flattens. Can we try? 2 sets coming forward, okay? So you want to make sure this time you're not only exaggerating that outward zigzag step, but you're also storing it enough so that you can let it grow from the flat of the foot all the way through your system. Then it will help you with the turning of the hips and waist. Do not rely on just the turning of the hips and waist to make that energy move for you, okay? All right, hands at your waist. Dropping those shoulders, tucking your butt, hollowing your chest. Keep it that way, okay? Twist out, walk in the right zigzag, shift your weight, out on an L. Now, energy moves all the way through the system, and then you turn your hips and waist as it gets into that center portion. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, zigzag to the left, heel, energy grows all the way through the system, and then it finishes off in a bow stance. Sit back, sit down, storing that energy, twist out, zigzag to the right, shift your weight, L, energy, come on, move, and then grow, and then come down. All right, now I'm not gonna say anything, we're gonna do 2 more. You get that sensation and that feeling. One more. Okay, sit back, sit down. Okay, so good. I think you are trying your best. I think that something like Tai Chi walk is a journey on its own, in that the more time you give to it, the better strength you have, the better understanding you have, the better you're able to train your body to shift the weight, and of course, over time, build that muscle strength, okay? So that's very important. And I don't know if I recall telling you that when we were training with our master, we'd be in a gym, just like the gym back here, and he would make us walk that whole length of the gym. We hated it, but I think it paid off. All right, let's see now. Okay, Yang 16, let's come to the clock wall and move forward, okay? Trying to remember all the little details of how we commence and how we part the wild horse's mane. So starting with the clock wall, good Tai Chi posture, dropping the shoulders, thinking through 50-50, commencing form, 60 on the right, 70, 80, 90, 100 allows you to off the ground, and 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Rotate your hands. Take a deep breath in as you elevate. At shoulder level, tuck the elbows, drop the shoulders, flex your knees. Left hand 2 inches below, right hand on the top, chest. Root down, store the energy on the right. We're going to part the wild horse's mane. Step out, move the energy, bottom hand advances, adjust the back foot, part the wild horse's mane, 1. Sit back and sit down. Here's our Tai Chi walk. Pivot to the left zigzag. Hold your ball for better balance. Out on an L. Move the energy. Then turn the hips and waist. Bow stance. We do 2 parting of the wild horse's mane. Then we take a half step with our left or back foot and we hold our ball on our toe. Spin the ball to the right. Sit back on the back. Lift the left as you watch it. On the toe of the front, lift the toe off the front, set it down. White crane spreads its wings. Weight on the back because your energy is stored there. Your substantial foot. Parameters of the white crane, baby finger slices through the edge of the right shoulder blade. Right hand is holding the ball to the right of your thigh. To bisect your body, we're going to have to tuck the elbow in and we have to drop the heel. Drop to the heel of the front. Weight on the back. Tuck the elbow, drop the heel, drop to the heel, come to the center, drop the left hand to bisect to the danten. Right hand swirls back, left hand is higher, setting it up correctly. Lift off the front foot onto the heel, all together. Brush knee, 1. Sit back, sit down, pivot to the zigzag of the right, set it up correctly, heel. Don't forget to move the energy all together, brush knee, 2 and final. Sit back, sit down. This one I wanted to go over. We're going to shift our weight to the left in a zigzag. Left hand comes up, right hand fists on the down and then come up. Heel comes out on a L stance. You're going to deflect, bring that wrist over, bring the parry out, and then the punch. So that's a whole bunch of words, so we're going to do it again. Okay? Stay where you are. We have just brush kneed 2. Can you do that with me? We're going to learn to deflect. Twist out, left hand high, right hand fisted. When you shift your weight, the left hand comes down, the right hand goes up. Here we go. Shift the weight, heel comes down, boink, bring it in, parry, and then punch. Strip the guy off of you, square to the shoulders, sit down, spiral up, lunge forward. So you had enough, so let's see. Sit back, sit down. You have enough energy to bring you all the way up and then forward. Let's see. Sit back, sit down, come up, save some of that, and then lunge forward. Okay? Let's go back. I think it was good. Let's do it again. So there are lots of areas in which I'm trying to polish up and try to maybe introduce for the first time or reintroduce. And then you kind of tag on to or latch on to something. And anything that you can latch onto is great, okay? Okay, facing the clock wall, good Tai Chi posture, dropping the shoulders. Commencing form, 50, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, off the ground, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, rotate, deep breath. At shoulder level, make yourself small. Round out, T and a ball. Store the energy, make sure that that right has all its weight. Out and to the side, move the energy, bottom hand advances, just the back foot, eye level of the front hand. Part the wild horse's mane. Sit back and sit down, store that energy, zigzag to the left, hold your ball for better balance, heel, move the energy, then turn the hips and waist. Part 2. Half step forward on the toe of the back, form your ball. As you sit back and spin, watch the advancing left hand go up, set it up and down, set it up correctly. Tuck the elbow in, drop the front foot, come to the center to bisect, swirl back with the right, left hand higher, all together. Ear, heel, hand, turn the hips and waist, brush knee one. Sit back, sit down, pivot to the right, zigzag, set it up, heel, turn the hips and waist, brush knee two. Sit back, sit down, pivot, left hand high, right hand fisted low, shift the weight out with the heel, deflect, bring it in, parry, then punch. Eye level, strip, roll back, sit down, turn the palms down. Energy comes up and then out. Pivot on the back, pivot on the front heel, hook the right hand, T stance, left hand across the face, out, push with the palm out, single whip. Half step forward, sit back. Then I got into 24. All right, so that ends that. Okay. So maybe that's an example of Tai Chi getting you into a zone, into a mode, and you're not fixated on on a prescription or description or an instruction, and the body just kind of moves into a natural position. But then that is not an excuse, because in Tai Chi, the mind is supposed to be active. So, it is a flaw. So it's saying to me, get with the program, stay with what you said, Yang 16. So it's good, Okay, it's a good reminder, it's a good way of pulling the mind back to focus. And in good focusing, you have satisfaction and you have then relaxation, okay? So let me just show you what you just did, just to kind of wrap it up a little bit. Commencing form. And we're supposed to do this. Okay. So we don't have to do it that slowly, but perhaps when I did it slowly, you can pick up the little different things that I've been trying to detail you with, okay? Let's go this way now, to the left, okay? Any questions? Okay, No, so face the bulletin board. Okay, going to the left in the normal position, okay, tucking that butt. If you tuck your butt, then that shoulder and that back should be pretty good, pretty soft and pretty erect. Then ask yourself, is my chest a little dipped in? And there you get it, okay? Commencing form, shift weight to the right, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, open, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, rotate, deep breath, diaphragmatic, pulling up that water, shoulder push down, tuck the elbows, drop the shoulders, flex the knees, forming your ball, T stance, part the wild horse's mane, out and to the side, move the energy, bottom hand advances, split the energy, part the wild horse's mane. Sit back, sit down, store that energy, twist out to the left, walk in the left zigzag, hold a ball, L, turn the hips and waist, move the energy, 2, half step forward, center with the ball, spin the ball as you sit back on your left, watch the advancing left hand go up, off the ground, set it up correctly, white crane spreads its wings. So 2 hips straight to the outward right foot, straight in line to the field. Drop the front foot as you tuck the elbow in and bring it into the center of your body. Bisect your body. Swirl back, look back at the left hand that's higher. Set it up correctly, lift off the ground to your heel and brush knee 1. Sit back and sit down, store that energy, pivot out to the right zigzag, set up your hands for better centering, out with your heel, turn the hips and waist, brush knee final. Sit back, sit down, right hand is fisted to the left waist, left hand is high, exchange paces as you shift your weight, deflect down with that punch, turn the wrist and bring it into your hip as you parry, step out and punch. Strip the guy off of you from the elbow to your fingertips, roll back, put the palms down as you sit down, store the energy, bring the palms up, save the energy to extend forward. Pivot on the back heel, pivot on the front heel, hook the right hand, T stance. Left hand comes out and palms come out as you create a single whip. Oh, that's a lot, okay? All right, let's do it forward then, okay? So I think that we're catching on to the first few movements, which will get really, really well because we always will do them. We know how to commence, but we need to polish it up and detail it a little better. We know how to do parting of the wild horse's mane. We sort of are catching on to white crane. Brush knee, okay, but we find that we can set it up, but we cannot advance and go sideways because we're so used to the 10 form where there are blocks. So we need to strengthen up our Tai Chi walk a little bit better to help us with our top portion, right? Or vice versa. Then after we can learn to deflect, bring it in, then parry, and then punch. So we're brush knee final. That's 2. Like a brush knee, so we're brush knee 2, sit back, sit down, pivot out as if I'm walking into that zigzag. Left hand is high, right hand is fisted. When I shift my weight, two things happen. We exchange places and we deflect. Bring it, turn it back, bring it in, and you parry, and then you punch. Strip the guy off of you, open the fingers. I'm shoulder width away, not out here and not in here. I roll back, I sit down, I turn him down and push him down. I bring him up and I save some of that energy and I push him back out. Okay, push him back out. I pivot on the back. This is kind of hard. Okay, push him back out. Pivot on the back, pivot on the front, hook the hand, T stance, left hand across the face, out on an L, push out, single whip. Okay, maybe we can practice that after we get this whole thing going, okay? So what did we say? Clock wall, yeah? Clock wall. All right. Good Tai Chi posture, dropping the shoulders. Good commencing form. 50-50, 60, 70, 80, 90, off the ground. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, rotate. Deep breath in, drop that water at shoulder level. Push down, tuck the elbows, flex the knees. Parting of the wild horse's mane, T stance. Out and to the side. Move that energy. Part 1. Sit back and store. Zigzag to the left. Center with the ball for better balance. Heel. Move the energy. Turn the hips and waist. 2. Half step forward. Hold your ball. Spin the ball as you sit back. Watch the advancing left hand on the toe of the front. Set it up correctly. Tuck the elbow, drop the foot, bisect toward the center. Swirl back, look back on the toe of the front, but we're going to do it correctly and put it on our heel as we brush knee 1. Sit back, sit down, pivot out, set it up correctly, heel out, turn the hips and waist, move that energy, brush knee, final. Sit back, sit down, right hand fisted by the left hip, left hand higher, zigzag to the left, exchange places, heel comes out, deflect, boink it down, bring it in, parry, step out, punch. Strip the guy, eye level, sit back, push him down, store the energy. Push him up, push him out. Okay, remember how you're standing. Just check and see how you're standing. Left foot in the front, right foot 45, and you pushed him out. Okay, can you remember that? All right, put your hands down, turn to the field. What did we say? Left foot forward, push him out. Okay? We're going to learn to pivot on our back, pivot on our front, and do a single whip. So we're in a bow stance. We want to pivot on our back or right heel, and then we want to pivot on our front or left heel. But in doing so, those pivots on our bottom portion of our body will have to match with our upper portion. Okay, let's take it slowly, but let's try to tune in. You're in a bow stance. You're going to retract slightly to pivot on the back heel. And what happens? That right hand went back. Then you're going to pivot on the left heel. It goes even back. Then you're going to hook that hand, and you're going to shift your weight over, create a T. Left hand is like to the right side of your cheek. When you advance forward on an L stance, the hand starts to sweep across, turns out so that the palm then is faced forward. Okay? So I don't know how to keep on doing that. Okay, it'll come. All right. So let me just show you what we just did. What did we just do? last brush knee, sit back, sit down, shifted our weight, deflect, bring it back, parry, shift the weight, punch. Okay, and then I repositioned you. So I'll keep you this way first. Oh, strip, roll back, sit down, up and forward. Then we repositioned, okay? Then we repositioned. So now we're in a bow stance. We want to pivot on the back, pivot on the front. Pivot on the back, on the heel. So I didn't move this hand and then pivot. Neither did I pivot and move the hand, but everything is joined, so watch what happens. You're pushed out. You're gonna pivot on the back, pivot on the front. The hands just went this way because something made it move by the pivoting of the feet. Watch again. Pivot on the back, pivot on the front. Hook, shift the weight, T, out across the face, L, push out, single whip. Can we just try that? Let's do it this way, okay? Left foot forward, right foot 45, we're pushed out. We're gonna learn how to pivot on both back first, then front, and how the hands go for the ride to hook to make a single whip, okay? So we push the guy out. Then we're gonna slightly retract. We're gonna pivot on the back heel, the hands moved. Pivot on the right heel, the hands moved again. This time we're gonna shift the weight, create a T, hook the hand, and we're like this. Are you? Then what do? We're gonna step out, we're on a T stance. We wanna get out into an L stance. Then we're gonna make that forward hand move with us and push it out on the final movement. So this is the one that I wanted to kind of, okay, so we can repeat. Push out, we're in the stance. Push out, right? You're following me, right? Left foot forward, and you have to make sure now that that stance that you have is not too wide. Once it's too wide, you feel very stressed, okay? So Tai Chi shouldn't stress you out. Push out. Pivot on the back, pivot on the front, hook, shift the weight, T, out, L, push out, single whip. Okay, push out. Actually, we can go this way. Let's go this way. Left foot forward, right foot 45, push out. Okay? Retract slightly, pivot on the back, pivot on the front, hook the backhand, T stance, out L, turn the wrist, push out. Okay? Now we're going to start again on a new segment, push out. What do? Pivot on the back, pivot on the front, hook, shift the weight to the back, T, out L, push out, single whip. Okay? I'm going to go back this way because we're not really moving, okay? We're not really advancing. Push out. Pivot on the back, pivot on the front. Oh, the hands move. T at about 3 o'clock. Out L, hitting the 9 o'clock. Actually, this one is not 3, but it's about 1 or 2 o'clock. 1 or 2 o'clock, okay? Push out. Everybody getting what I'm doing, okay? Because this is the transition to get into pivot on the back, pivot on the front to a single whip. Push out. Slightly retract, pivot on the back, pivot on the front, hook, shift the weight to a T, out L, push out, single whip. One more time. Push out. Pivot on the back, pivot on the front, hook, T, out L, turn the palm out, single whip. Okay, let me just take a peek. Yeah, that's it. And then just ask yourself when you're in a single whip, are you in good Tai Chi posture? And more than likely you will be, eventually will be. But although pivoting on the back and pivoting on the front seems very awkward, and it is sort of awkward, it's, it can be natural. This is what we did, okay? If my feet were too far, I'm gonna have trouble pivoting. So I want to not cheat on it and come too close, because then I'll still have trouble. But you want to find that natural stance, which is still natural to all of our Tai Chi. It's not just this one movement that should be isolated just because you know, but it's an alert that, uh-oh, I can't have this too far because I'm not going to be able to pivot. I'm going to have, my center is going to have a hard time giving me that reassurance that I can do it. So push out, retract slightly, pivot, pivot, shift the weight, hook, out, single whip. So actually, if you keep on doing this at home, it can be a relatively beautiful movement. Okay, and then when you string it along, you say, oh, got it. But you've got to isolate some of these movements. And when you think about it, I'm not going very far. I'm not going far at all. I'm just staying within that same area. But it's what you're able to do with your heel and your pivoting. And remember, we always emphasize that no matter what our bottom is doing, our top will follow. And surely, in this case, it's following. See how it follows. Pivot on the back. Hey, when I pivot on the back, something's got to go. If I have my hands here, and I pivot, hey, this whole thing moves. So if my hands are up here or down here, they're going to move with me. So it's setting myself up. It's setting me up, I wouldn't say automatically, right? Shift the weight, hook the hand, out, push out, here. Wow. But initially it's crazy. It's like, who can pivot on the back and then pivot on the front and then come out with a single whip and look so nice? But it is within your reach. So that's what Tai Chi is. Bottom line, Tai Chi is not stressing you out. It should never stress you out. It should be something that your body can adapt to and make yourself feel that, hey, it's sort of magical, but you know, it's in the power. First you intake visually, you understand mentally, and then you just say, teach my body, you know? Body, do what I'm thinking I should be doing. And there are times when you're gonna have to tweak it. We all have to do that, but that's how we get better. Okay, but I know that I don't have to sell Tai Chi to you, but for this one movement, it's not that bad, just like with all the others, right? Yeah, it's actually almost time.
One of the basic concepts is substantial foot does not move, insubstantial foot moves, okay? And even in this single whip, you end up with that concept, although seemingly very subtly, okay? Here, for instance, we are in this position, okay? I cannot sit back and twist my back foot, right? But you're in the bow step. What's the weight, substantial versus insubstantial? Front foot is substantial, although not that much. 60-40, 70-30. But you're here, and before you shift back, substantial, insubstantial. But before I can move this foot, I have to make this substantial, and then this insubstantial. And in the meantime, I'm sort of doing one of these things. Okay? Now, which can move? This can move, this cannot. Step insubstantial, substantial again. Okay? So even though you say, wow, that's a lot of things that are moving, if you adhere to the concept, one of the basic 10 essentials of Tai Chi, you are cognizant of what is substantial versus what is insubstantial, and secondary to that is substantial does not move, insubstantial moves. So when you're doing all these kind of subtle things, you don't know which way to go. You know you cannot move this foot if you decide to go too early here. You're doing the wrong thing. So you hear, and you say, she says, okay, back foot shifts. Okay, you stay there. You're still in this position here, back foot. Then you can shift off, and then you can bring it in. Okay? And another, I think that's probably the best thing. If you go back to saying, how does the movement make sense? You go back to the 10 essentials of Yang Cheng Fu.
Actually, I taught myself a little bit more, so good. I think it was a good lesson for me. Just isolating this movement and then Ken coming in and talking about shifting of weight. And when you see it all and hear it all and understand it, it makes it logical. Then from logic, we say, well, if it's logical, it should not be that complicated. It's rather simple, but like we say, understand the premise of shifting weight, and then it works, okay? We'll try it again next week, okay? But do some practicing, hopefully with calmness, using your core, and a lot of centering. Okay, see you next time.